What's up and welcome to Bavarian Enthusiast TV. My name is Will and I appreciate you checking out this video. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 things I love the most about my 1986 air-cooled Porsche 911. So if you've been watching this channel at all, you'll know that I absolutely love this car, spent a lot of time getting it right. So today I'm going to be taking you through what I love the most about it. So I'm going to walk you through a little background and then we're going to get into the 5 things. Without any further ado, let's jump into it.
After looking for an air-cooled 3.2 on and off for a couple of years, I was fortunate enough to find an extremely clean 1986 Porsche 911. I've now owned the car for almost 3 months. I've put around 1,000 miles on it and I've figured out its high and low points. I've also had to put a little money into it to get it where I want it, which, as an aside, is pretty common whenever I pick up a new-to-me car. This car is a well-cared-for example, and I bought it from the second owner who had had it for about 7 years. He had the routine maintenance done to the car and also had a great deal of paperwork not only from his ownership but also from the previous owner. This car was always in Georgia, which is appealing to me as it really reduces the chance of rust or the impact of bad weather on the overall condition of the car. I found my 86 on the Porsche Club of America classifieds. In my experience, PCA sellers can typically be a little high in their pricing, but they're also usually very particular about their cars, which lends itself to getting choice examples. Additionally, and this is based on my own experience, they tend to be reputable, passionate sellers who are known in their respective Porsche communities. So, after getting to know this seller, we were able to put together a deal and I flew down to Atlanta to pick up the car. Since bringing the car home, I haven't been able to stop driving. I've frankly been neglecting my 993, but just can't seem to get enough of my 86. So, with that said, let's get into the top 5 things I love about my 3.2. Thing I love number 1, the interior. As soon as you climb into the 3.2, you can see that the interior just screams classic 911. The gauges sit on a perfectly vertical surface and are right in your face. They definitely look aged, but in a good way. I love the analog odometer and the orange needles and the orange highlights on the tach. As so many reviewers have pointed out, with a classic 911 you only get what you need, nothing more in terms of gauges and switches. And I love the simplicity and driver-focused feeling you get when you sit in the car. I don't know why, but something that I've always loved about the older 911s is that there's really no center console. You have the handbrake and the heater controls on the floor below your elbow. The gear shifter basically sticks right out of the floor and there are no real soft surfaces or storage cubbies to fill in the empty space. The car is about driving. And that center console area with the gear shifter is meant to be a focus for driving, not somewhere to store your tissues or put your coffee mug. Thing I love number 2, the 915 transmission. I recently did a video on the 915 and what it's like to shift it. The video has been pretty popular, which tells me I'm not the only one who has feelings, thoughts, and appreciation for the 915 gearbox. So it's no surprise that the second thing I love most about my 3.2 Carrera is the 915 transmission. In my opinion, the 915 transmission takes the effort required to drive the 3.2 to the next level. As an enthusiast, for me this is a very positive thing. The car lacks power steering and power brakes, so there's the enjoyable physical challenge required to drive it. And when you add the attention to shift timing and positioning that the 915 transmission requires, the 3.2 is truly a driver's car. Thing I love number 3, the specific mods that are on my 3.2. When I picked up my 3.2, I knew the previous owner had spent a fair amount of time and energy caring for the car. He provided a lot of paperwork, which I appreciated, and what I had initially believed was focused on routine maintenance and upkeep. Upon further investigation into the history, however, I was able to see that he had a great deal of passion for the car while he owned it, and had done some very tasteful modifications that I've come to appreciate and really be grateful for. Things the previous owner had done. Lowered suspension. Based on the pictures of the car in the for sale ad, I knew it had a more aggressive stance than others I had seen. I found out that the previous owner had put Bilstein Sport suspension on the car. I love how it looks and also how it handles. Definitely a great addition. 17-inch wheels. The wheels on the car really add to the overall presence of the car. When you combine them with the lowered suspension, the car stance looks much more unique and aggressive. The bigger wheels do ride more roughly than the stock 16-inch Fuchs, but I do have the 16s so I can switch them out if I'd like. Momo steering wheel. As a kid, I always wanted a classic 911 when I grew up, and what I had always had in mind was one with an aggressive hot rod type wheel, which is what the Momo is. It's a tasteful addition and I love the Porsche emblem on the horn. Rally timers. When I first saw the rally clocks on the dash of my 3.2, I wasn't really sure what to make of them. I had admittedly never seen this kind of thing before and wasn't really sure that I liked it, but over the past few months they've really grown on me, so I think I'm going to leave them in there. Euro headlights. In my experience, many times the Europeans get subtle design cues right on cars when you compare them to the US versions. The headlights on my 3.2 are no exception. I wouldn't have really picked this up when I first looked at the car, but now I can clearly see just how much cooler the Euro headlights look, and I can definitively say that I love this mod. Cocoa mats. While not really a true mechanical mod, these mats are definitely a tasteful addition and very appropriate for the car. I love personalizing my cars, and this is something I definitely would have done had it not come with them. I mean, what's a classic 911 without some cocoa mats? So all in, I feel like I really lucked out with some of the mods that were done to the car I found. The previous owner and I share a very similar taste, and he did so much to the car that I appreciate. The thing I love, number 4, the air-cooled Porsche enthusiast community. While not unique to the 3.2, I would say that I've gotten a great deal of support and connection with people who share an appreciation for air-cooled cars. The community surrounding the 3.2 seemed to have a deep, deep passion for these cars, and I've really enjoyed getting to meet other owners and communicate with them about their cars. It's always an amazing thing when you meet someone, find out you're both into this specific 911, and then immediately it's like you've been friends for a long time. I've owned a lot of other brands, and while many have had a distinct and close-knit community, the air-cooled Porsche community seems over and above the usual, and the coolest thing about it is the positivity you get. Facebook groups centering on air-cooled 911s are a great example. I've been a member of the Porsche 911 air-cooled only group for a while now. It's an active, supportive, and helpful group. I've posted pictures of my car in there, as people do in Facebook communities. And the next thing I know, I'm getting direct messages from guys who have the same or similar cars, and we're texting back and forth as though we've known each other for a long time. A little weird? Yes, but once you get past that, this community is all in one of the most fun I've ever been involved in. Thing I love, number 5, the iconic exterior design. From the distinctive and instantly recognizable headlights to the low-slung rear end, the G-Series 911s are, for me at least, what I've always thought of as the quintessential 911. Each generation of 911 has its place in my mind, and yes, as controversial as it is, I do believe there's a place for the 996. As an aside, I was listening to a recent podcast, and 996s are actually increasing in value, if you can believe it. Anyway, while I have a deep appreciation for each generation of 911, I must say that the G-body cars are my favorite from a cosmetic standpoint. This is something that's hard for me to admit because I do also have a 993, and while they're absolutely gorgeous, I have to admit I think I prefer my 3.2. So, there you have it. The 5 things I love most about my 86 Porsche 911. I feel so very lucky that I have the privilege of owning one, and I'm even more grateful that I was able to find an example as well kept as this one. As I've shared with you, I also own a 993 911. That's a very special car and also very different from the 3.2. And along these lines, I'll be doing a comparison video on the two cars at some point soon. If you're interested in being notified when that happens, I invite you to subscribe and click the bell. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time. I'm out of here.